I tricked my opponent on the river. I'm in the small blind. I got 10-5 of spades. It's a straddled pot of 10. Gets around to me. I make the call. Big blind calls. We're going to a flop 4 ways. It hasn't been raised. The flop comes ace deuce 4 with 2 diamonds. We flop a gut shot straight draw. I check. The straddler bets 15 on the flop. The button folds. I decide to call with my gut shot. Also, like I'm representing a flush draw, we go to a turn heads up now. The turn comes the 10 of diamonds. I turn a pair of 10s. I check. My opponent now decides to bet 30. I make the call representing I have a 10. I have diamonds. The river comes out the 9 of diamonds. There's now 4 diamonds on the board. And the only way I can win is if I get my opponent to fold because I believe he has an ace, but I don't think he has a diamond in his hand. So I want to overbet the pot, which is what I did. I made it 175 into a pot of about 120. My opponent flips over, pocket deuces for a flop set. I thought he had an ace, but it works out the same way. He folds and I represented a flush. I made a big mistake on the river. I have queen 10 offsuit, late position. I raise to 15. Button calls, everyone else folds. We're going to a flop heads up. It comes out 10-4-3 with 2 spades. I flop top pair of 10s with a queen kicker. I bet 20 on the flop. My opponent makes the call. Turn card is the 7 of diamonds. Pretty good for me unless my opponent has 5-6. But we're gonna find out on this turn if he does. I bet $65. He doesn't raise me on the turn. He only flat calls, which makes me realize he doesn't have 5-6. The river comes out the 6 of clubs, which isn't the best card. So I decide to slow down and check my hand on the river. My opponent bets $200. This is probably where I should have folded, but I do make the call. My opponent had 4-5. He rivered the straight and I paid him off. Probably should have folded there at the end. I had a feeling my opponent was bluffing here. I got pocket 6s under the gun. I raise it to 15. Player behind me calls. It gets to the small blind who 3 bets to 105. I probably wasn't deep enough to call, but I was tilted in this session, so I do call. The other player folds. We're going to a flop. I'm in position heads up. The flop comes 10-7-3 rainbow, and my opponent just immediately puts me all in. If he had pocket aces or kings or queens, he probably wouldn't be betting this sizing here. I feel like he has ace king because he's trying to push me off the pot. That was my line of thinking. I do make the call with my pocket 6s. We're headed to a run out. It's jack of diamonds, jack of hearts. My opponent does flip over ace king and I win a big pot. Everybody at the table says nice call. I felt like if he had aces or kings, he wouldn't have played it that way, and I get paid. This hand got me tilted. I'm in the big blind. I have ace queen offsuit. There's a few limpers in front of me. I make it 45 to go, trying to isolate it to one player. I'm out of position. One player does make the call. Everyone else folds. We're heads up. I'm out of position, and it's a good flop. Ace 7-6. It comes out rainbow. I want to keep my opponent around. I bet $40 on the flop. He raises my flop bet up to 115. Obviously, I'm not going anywhere, but I am a little bit suspicious. I make the call. We're now headed to a turn card. The turn card is the 8 of diamonds. There's now a diamond draw out there. I check over to see what he's gonna do. He also checks. We go to a river. The river is the 10 of spades. Now I want to bet for value with my ace queen. I bet 110 on the river. My opponent thinks for a little bit and he throws in a raise. He makes it 400 to go. Now I'm thinking, what could he possibly have? He raised me on the flop, he checked on the turn, and he raises me on the river. His line just doesn't make any sense to me, so I throw in the call, 300 more, and he flips over pocket 10s. He rivered a set. Absolutely brutal. The one hand that he could have had. If you're looking to create poker content like mine, check out Poker Edits. The link is in the description below. Use code CGLAZE to get 50% off your first purchase. I got sneaky with my overpair. I got pocket jacks in middle position. There's a couple limpers. Somebody makes it 15. I 3-bet to 55. The guy who originally limp called. Everyone else folds. We're headed to a flop heads up. The flop comes 9-6-3. 2 hearts. My opponent checks. This is where I get sneaky. I act like I have ace king, ace queen. I decide to check on the flop. The turn card comes the 4 of clubs. That's a great card for me. He He checks. Now I bet 60 on the turn. My opponent calls. He's got to think I have ace high at this point. The river comes out the 9 of clubs, which isn't that great. I decide to bet $200 after he checks. My opponent makes the call. I under-rep my hand on the flop, and I get paid on the river $200. Nice hand. Would you have played this differently? I have king queen in middle position. There's a straddle up to 10. I make it 35 to go. Button calls, small blind calls. We're going to a flop 3 ways. Flop comes out 10 jack 8, 2 diamonds. We flop an open-ended straight draw, backdoor diamonds with the king. It gets checked to me. I bet $55. One player folds and the other one goes all in. He doesn't have too much more. I think it's about $200 total. I throw some chips in, indicating I'm calling. Now we go to a run out. The 5 of diamonds comes on the turn, 4 of clubs on the river. My opponent has the nut flush, ace 4 of diamonds. We were drawing very thin there, considering he had the ace of diamonds. We needed an offsuit ace or a 9 to win that pot, and we didn't get there, so we pay him off. I went for max value on the river. I have 5-6 offsuit. I'm in the big blind. It gets raised to 15, a couple callers. I make the call. It's only 10 more. Maybe we can smash the flop. It comes out ace 7-6 rainbow. We don't smash it, but we do get a piece of it. Bottom pair. I check. Everybody else checks. We now go to a turn. The turn is the 3 of hearts. I now have a gut shot straight draw. It does bring a heart flush draw. I want to get some value out of my hand. I bet for 35. Nobody showed any signs of anything, but we do get one player to make the call to the river, which brings the 4 of diamonds. I make my gut shot straight. I now bet 115 on the river, going for value. Let me know in the comments if you think that was the right value bet. He does end up making the call, and I flip over my hand saying I river to straight, and I win a nice pot. I can't believe what my opponent did on the river. I have king queen offsuit. I'm in the straddle. There's not many players playing. Everybody was straddling. Button calls, big blind calls. I decide to make it $30, get some money in the pot. They both continue for 30. We're going 3 ways to a flop. It comes queen 6-4, 2 hearts. We flop top pair with a king. I continue on the flop for $50, and so do both players. We go to a turn. The turn is the 5 of clubs. Nothing much connecting. The flush doesn't get there. I decide to continue for 155 on the turn. The button calls. The other player folds. Now I'm thinking he either has a flush draw, he could have a queen, but there's a good chance I'm ahead in this pot right now. The river comes the 3 of clubs. It puts a 4-liner out there. Any deuce, any 7 beats me now. I check and slow down, and my opponent somehow checks and flips over king deuce of hearts. He did have the flush draw, but he backdoored the straight. I don't know how he didn't bet on that river. I probably would have called the bet, but that's a sick way to lose a hand for me. I couldn't have played this hand any worse. I'm in the straddle. I have 9-10 offsuit. It gets around to the small blind, who makes it 30. I make the call. We're going to a flop heads up. It comes 9-8-3, 2 diamonds. I flop top pair with a 9. My opponent checks. I bet 40, and he immediately raises it up to 150. I have top pair. I can't fold at this point. I make the call for 110 more. We now go to a turn. The turn is the queen of clubs. It's not a great card. 10 jack gets there. There's now 2 flush draws out there. My opponent bets 250. I probably should have let go of my hand at this point, but I've taken a ton of tough beats in this session. I'm on tilt. I make the call for 250, not letting go of my top pair. We now go to a river. The river brings the 4 of spades. Diamonds don't get there. My opponent goes all in. I have about $500 left. I tilt off and make the call. My opponent flips over a set of 3s. He flopped a set and slow played it very smartly, deceived me, and got all my chips. I played that hand absolutely terrible.